Is ESPN biased towards the Golden State Warriors? The easy answer is yes. The longer, more complex answer is still pretty much yes. So before I get into what Mark Jackson had to say about his own employer on a live broadcast during the Warriors vs. Memphis game, yes, the same game where the Warriors blew a 24-point lead, I do find it funny. I think the internet reaction to all this stuff is great. I think the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead joke is getting a little bit played out, but I'm also the guy who loves crying Jordan, so I guess I have no leg to stand on when I want to talk about memes getting played out. So back to the point here. ESPN, of course, is a little bit biased towards certain teams in the NBA because you got to promote what's the most marketable. Now, to an extent, though, Mark Jackson made a really good point, and his point wasn't that you don't stop promoting the Golden State Warriors, you just balance it out. So during the Grizzlies game, in which the Grizzlies ended up coming back to win, beat the Warriors for a second time this year, he said, quote, "I'm watching TV promoting Wednesday's game, Portland at Golden State, and then tonight's game, Memphis at Golden State, and the commercial says, who's it going to be? Dre, Klay, Steph, KD, who's going to go off tonight? Grizzlies, Warriors." Okay, are you kidding me? Let's show some respect to the opposition. Whether it's Damian Lillard, whether it's CJ McCollum, whether it's Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, there's more to pump up a game than 4 players from a particular team. When I was coaching the opposition's team, I'd end the pregame meeting with that commercial by our very own ESPN. So, for one, anytime an employer is calling out their own company, they're going to be hovering some dangerous territory or dangerous waters because you're really going on a limb. However, he makes a coherent point. Now, especially, it's tough being Mark Jackson, given he's still calling Warriors games, but he's a good broadcaster. I have nothing against him in that sense. But his point being is that you can't, or you shouldn't, have it be who's it going to be, Klay, Draymond, Curry, Steph, like who's it going to be out of those 4, when there is more than enough talent on the Grizzlies, and it's not just the Grizzlies thing. Even if it was the 76ers or the Nets, you have a Joel Embiid or a Brook Lopez, just give them some screen time. Not, are you watching this game because the Warriors are playing, or are you watching this game because the Warriors and the Grizzlies are playing? It's a one-off situation, but ESPN has been known to do this. We know that they're very heavy on the LeBron James coverage. Can't lie, technically we are too. And they're heavy on the Warriors coverage, and so are we. We at least just try to intermix some other clips in there to really try to balance it out. We talk about Jimmy Butler all the time on the channel. He just went off again. We try to talk about the Raptors more and more as this season's come around. And we do that because our comment section, the people who watch this show, this space, really genuinely enjoy when we talk about the Raptors, as long as we only talk about the Raptors in a good sense. Fans being fans, no, not trying to get on anybody's bad side. However, I understand where Mark Jackson's coming from. I think he makes a great point. But the point I want to make, too, to this is that it's very similar to, the UFC. You got to promote your stars. It's just kind of how business and marketing works. It would be wrong to say that nobody cares about Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. But what's factual is that a lot more people care about Klay and Draymond and Kevin Durant, either for them watching them because they like to, or they hate watching them because they're so anti-Warriors now, than they would about then comparing that to a Conley or a Gasol. It's the same thing. The Blazers one's surprising because, Damian Lillard's a superstar. CJ McCollum, when Damian Lillard's absent, was going off for 20, 30, 26 points and a half. So it's not like there's not young stars that don't. I mean, look, Damian Lillard's got a shoe deal. He's a rap star. He's going to be hopefully an all-star this year and get voted into that. There's really not any more marketable of a player you can possibly ask for, especially with his whole mission to, stay on the team that he's loyal to and lead them at least back into the playoffs. And, they're going through some struggles, the Blazers, but they still have some time to turn around. It's a very interesting drop-off from last season. In terms of other shots being fired, it wasn't just Mark Jackson over the last few days. It was also Kevin Garnett and Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, as we always talk about in this space, generally says a lot of things, and 5 out of 10 times they hit, and 5 out of 10 times you're going, what the F are you talking about, Charles? Kevin Garnett's not a borderline Hall of Famer. Kevin Garnett is one of the 25 easiest shoo-ins in Hall of Fame history. He's in a club of his own in terms of points, assists, and rebounds. Defensively, he was a monster. His championship in the Celtics goes a long way, but it's also just the Basketball Hall of Fame, and through about a 20-year career, Kevin Garnett was almost untouchable in terms of how great he was at his position. He's top 5 at his position all time. So I don't know what the hell Charles Barkley was talking about. However, when KG responds with, "Yeah, Chuck, you're borderline an NBA champion," it's the most perfect response. Get under Chuck's skin, Charles Barkley's skin as well. So a lot of fun stuff in the NBA this weekend. Like I said, Jimmy Butler went nuts with some step back game winners. He's dishing it off to Dwayne Wade. What's so amazing about Jimmy Butler is that it seems difficult for him to string together massive games in a row. He tends to go really hot and then cold for a game, and then hot for another game and cold for another game. But he's definitely got the leadership role intact. It's definitely his team. He's picking up new moves. He has a new arsenal, I would say, of attacking moves this year, and I think a lot of that really is because of Dwayne Wade's influence over Jimmy Butler. I think he's turning him into more of a confident scorer than he was in the past, because he's already a great two-way guard, that we know. All right, that's about it for the weekend in NBA takeaways. We'll be back in the studio tomorrow, which is Monday, for some NFL playoffs and other fun stuff. I'm sure some the world football as well. And make sure to comment below, like, favorite, and subscribe. Follow me at JasonRubin91 on Twitter. We'll see you next time.